everybody, welcome to Blood Bowl. I'm Complacent Badger.
I'm Sierra Kilo.
We're watching the Coarse Heirs versus Re-AWOOOken.
This is going to be pretty interesting. So the Coarse Heirs did very well last season. Team value 1610 versus 1590, so not a big difference here.
No. Both the new teams from last season, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's going to be the way to go.
Alright. So, I also have a couple players on the Coarse Heirs.
Uh-oh. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I don't have the Dump King, who is the #1 draft pick.
Okay, 'cause that would mark him for death.
Yes, I do have Cesar William Kidd, and I'll know it when I see it. I believe I have Kesger, Henry Every.
Right. All right. So let's see how the Coarse Heirs deal with the Re-AWOOOken.
Yes. Receiving the ball, they have an interesting setup, putting everybody on the line like that. Could potentially get some guys beaten up on, but he opted not to put anybody on the line for defense.
Right.
And I guess that makes sense.
I think that a little depth would have been a good idea, but he did make a really good job of kind of tying up the center, and he's got enough movement in his players to get through. So it's not like the Coarse Heirs aren't like the Speedwalkers where they can just kind of do that leap move all the way back. So he's going to have to fight his way through like he's going for.
Yep. He does have good where he's closed most of the routes, and some key players, the werewolves specifically, can split off and help either side with their intense movement value. So,
yeah, and those guys are just fun.
So deciding to go because he blitzed left, deciding to kind of err towards the left side and building up a partial cage.
Which is a good way to make sure that you have dudes available for other things while at the same time providing the necessary protection for your player.
Yeah, because it's not always about completely closing off your ball carrier. It's making it a less, I guess, satisfying and tantalizing route towards him by making you do one or two mildly negative modifier dodges.
Right.
So this is interesting. He pulls both his werewolves all the way to the back, and then does a blitz with Bra to go for it. So that's a really ballsy move.
Super bold. But those flesh golems don't have any of those big guy negatives. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Plus, he's got that block on there, so that's an super interesting way to go. I mean, pretty risky that early in the team moves, but definitely worked. You know.
That's why I love flesh golems, because they have strength and general available to them normally.
Right.
Oof, and then setting up on the, or getting pushed and then leaving your guy on the sideline. Would have gotten injured, but he succeeded his injury, or rather his regenerate roll. So
that makes a difference.
So that opens up that left lane wide with that lost player. So we may see a touchdown coming.
Yeah.
Sometimes trying to dodge and then, you know, failing and letting a player just lay there away from the sideline is better than letting him stand on the sideline.
I'm with that. It's a very common strategy that a lot of folks have played when playing me as well, because I have those werewolves with frenzy, the Norse werewolves. I guess we should make that,
as they used to be called, the Oof Whirlers.
Right. And now we have werewolves that are a little more dog-faced.
Yep. We can just call them by their names: Puppy Dog, Not My Son, and Boldoff, because everybody knows their names.
Everybody knows their names. It's like Cheers, man.
Yeah. So manages to not only rip the ball clean, but it bounces into a zombie's hands.
What are the chances of that, huh?
1 out of 6.
Well, did it happen to be a zombie? You know, now you've got a zombie carrying the freaking ball.
Yeah. Well, good news is a zombie is just as good as everybody else at handing off the ball.
True, and walking.
Yes.
That's about it.
Just,
I mean,
he just doesn't do it as often.
just shuffling.
So you can see Corsairs really utilizing that sideline to make the key positional players just disappear.
Yeah.
Zombie not offering enough defense to stay standing after getting kicked.
Yep. And that's why Master Moose is so dangerous, is that just his use of the sideline, his just overall mastery of being able to put dudes where he wants to is super good. It also means that you need a sundial to clock his matches. But
it stems from a knowledge of the game. He knows just about everything, so he knows when a situation he can utilize a rule to his advantage.
Right, and he does a really good job of that.
Yeah.
He's oftentimes the one who goes, hey, you guys talking live? You're making a lot of mistakes when it comes to the rule book. I've spent 4 or 5 hours studying the rules, and I would like to politely correct you. And we're like, thanks, man.
And my argument used to be how many championships do you have? But then he won last season, so I can't say that anymore.
What a bastard! How inconsiderate! To nullify my argument.
Exactly.
In such a way that there's no refuting it.
It's like, all right, bookworm, go back to your books. I'm gonna keep winning. And then he beats the pants off everyone, and it's like, hey. That's right. Some people that know everything can win.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was interesting, picking it up and then running it back to the guy farthest back on his team. But he's a guy that can actually do something with it now.
Right.
So it looks like he might take it on the right side where there's absolutely no useful players for the Re-AWOOOken. Oh.
Yeah, it just looks like he's taking a little bit of his time, not in a super... Ooh,
he does a very different thing where he puts down the guy that has a potential intercept and then throws the ball for a touchdown. Hey, that was my guy.
Hey, good job. Didn't trip over his feet.
Nope. Not dead yet.
That's I might use that as one of my players.
Which one? Not dead yet?
Not dead yet.
Nice. Kaiser Francis Drake.
Keep going.
Kaiser Francis Drake does not come back from his KO, so #1 draft pick laying around on the job.
That seems good. Just ice it. No big deal.
He had a hard season last time. He's still catching his breath.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time running circles around those wood elves in the championship.
Right. Pull the hammy.
Yep. So kick right to the ghoul. Hanging out with him.
Now this is going to be important, where you got to make sure that you protect the ball, because he's very good about getting in there.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you have the strength advantage. So with the flesh golem, so make him hurt. But I don't think the white's block is going to be too terribly important, because I think do a lot of his players have block as well?
The only ones that come standard with block on his side are the blitzers.
Okay.
And then I don't think he's picked up block with anybody else except maybe Caesar has blodge.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically nobody else other than the blitzers and then
so
one
pretty good.
catcher.
That makes those whites a little more powerful.
Yep. It's about even on number of guys with block, as the flesh golem also has block. And but his ghoul, one of his ghouls, the one that's still on the pitch, picked up block, and I think he's picked up block with both of his werewolves. So he is a much more block-heavy team than the elves are right now.
Which is oftentimes enough to make it work.
Yep. And in case most likely the fantasy guys are going to be playing, and we keep talking about the skill block, what that does is you'll notice that every time that somebody attacks, you'll see down there at the bottom left, it doesn't show the dice, but it shows the results. Anytime that you see a both down result, that would mean that both the attacker and defender would be put down on the ground, but block nullifies that to whoever has block is not affected by both down. So ostensibly on a 6-sided die, you're taking one side that would be bad for you and turning it into not bad for you and making it potentially bad for your opponent.
Right.
So that's why block is powerful.
And especially when you have that many players, it makes like one die tackles a lot less risky.
Yes. Ooh, knockout. Bra just smashing people.
Good.
And old
And those were all fantasy points.
Yes, and old just kind of helping out as well. Seems to be hanging out with the two big guys, his big brothers.
I like it, man. It's a good way to play.
Alright, so getting set up, marking some people, dodging, breaks away from the shadowing, because you're not going to shadow a werewolf. He's got all the movement.
Right.
For basics on shadowing, more movement you have, the harder it is to get away or to stay shadowing. Basically, the higher movement value, the better you are at either remaining in shadowing if you have it, or breaking shadowing if somebody's following you.
See, that's definitely one of those things that I need to read up on, because even haven't run across it in a heavy enough manner to be too concerned about it. I know that if somebody has shadowing, they're going to be a bother to me, but that's about the extent of it.
Yep. It's based off of a roll and both characters' movement allowance. I should say remaining movement allowance.
Okay. Fair play. This is a kind of an interesting pattern how this worked out. You definitely have some folks in the backfield. You've got the left side, as we're looking at it, pretty heavy. That little patch on the right. So there's enough opportunity for action kind of everywhere, and it's not super clumpy right now.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long way to go for that.
Yeah. Most definitely. Kind of killing, or rather trying to kill all the elves in the backfield.
Not a bad strategy.
No, but I think I'd be a little bit more worried about the ball carrier at this point, just because he's got a decent movement allowance.
I definitely agree with that, and he's pretty close to being free.
I mean, he can score with just 2 go-for-its, and he's unmarked.
That's something that you need to remedy. Too sweet.
However, the Corsairs do have no rerolls remaining, so the 2 go-for-its are not as tantalizing.
Right, but we do know Master Moose and his "fuck it, what's the worst that's going to happen" mentality.
Well, he also has a complete aversion to go-for-its. Not that he doesn't do them, but he seems to always fail them. So.
Well, you're only going to increase your odds of succeeding by failing first.
Probably.
I mean, is that how statistics works?
I guess, why not? I'm not the statistics guy. I get Gimpy on the phone.
Oh, fair play.
Just leaves. He's just like, fuck it.
No, I don't wanna.
That's an elf tactic right there. That's like the only thing that you only see people like Master Moose do that. He takes the ball, goes all the way back to his backfield, hands it off to another dude, throws it to the other side of the pitch to a guy who scores.
Right. Pretty frustrating. But got his 2 touchdowns in this half, which is what we expect those high agility teams to do.
Yeah, he was like, a dodge and 2 go-for-its can't happen. However, I will do a dodge, a handoff, a throw, a catch, and a touchdown.
Like no big deal.
But all of those, in his defense, give him free rerolls, whereas he would have had to use or rather had no team rerolls for the 2 go-for-its.
Yeah. You're getting that star player point action.
Yep.
Look at that. Practice makes perfect. Perfect launch.
Yep. Yeah, he mentioned after the game that he was going to try to get whoever drafted his players as many fantasy points as possible, at the same time while getting star player points for the freeze.
Nice. I should find out who's cheering my team on.
I think almost every single one of your players got drafted.
That seems fair. If they only had a better coach.
Oh. Zombie went down.
Regen.
Did not make it. No. So trying to open a hole, but it's tough against old Roberts. Is that Roberts? I think that's Robert. Nope, Viscount. Roberts must be over here. And it's halftime.
Boy. Yeah. Comes up on you quick, huh?
Yeah, very much so. I'm promise I'm way more cognizant of it when I'm actually playing.
I believe that. I
think it's because I've played so much Blood Bowl, I do it based on like a time thing.
Right.
So when 10 minutes passes and while we're recording, it's like, oh, that's like 2 turns, right?
Exactly.
Nope, that's a half.
Yeah. When's the last time I've actually played you, man? It seems like it's been forever.
It had to have been in the Roulette League.
Yeah. Because
in the League of the Living Dead, we didn't actually get a matchup yet prior to disbanding it.
Yeah. I think that's something that we should do in the next little bit. We could belittle ourselves while belittling the game of Blood Bowl with our terrible Blood Bowl skills.
I mean, I hate myself as much as the next person hates me, so I'm all for this, and I also love showing people that I can't win a game of Blood Bowl despite all the shit that I give everybody else.
That's the definite truth of the matter, is that when you and I play, it rolls into just a shit show. No, you know what? Didn't we play a hot seat game when you were here?
I think that happened. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I remember that you were really mad about everything.
I mean, that's what I do.
I still have the attacker down dice on my whiteboard. Roll more of these.
Oh yeah, I forgot I put that. Speaking of which, I forgot to give you your dice.
That's true. But you've only had 7 or 8 opportunities, so.
I mean, probably have 7 or 8 more, but.
That'll be all right.
Spoiler alert: this game's boring.
Yeah. Well, nothing's going on.
Hey, that is a robust line.
Yeah. Look at all that block.
Block. No, we should play more pickup games. I do believe. I think when Blood Bowl 2 comes out, I think we'll be more willing to do that. Oof.
That's true.
You got
what do we got there?
Smashed hand on Cesar. That was my guy, and Apothecary to no longer hurt, so that's good.
Even best.
Yeah, I think when we convert to Blood Bowl 2, playing pickup games will be a lot more fun.
I'd like to think so. It's just that there's so much wasted time with like the goofy animations and just the amount of time that it takes to kind of go over your players and to figure out exactly who and what and why.
Yep.
I'd like to see a little bit better interface, because this is not a big step forward from Legendary Edition.
It is no steps forward. Yeah, this has always been a functional game at best. This is a way for us to kind of slightly more efficiently play Blood Bowl with our friends that live across the world.
Right. I mean, it's almost like playing video chess.
Yes, it's pretty akin to it. There's some pretty decent animations, but otherwise it's Yeah, it's just
That they really just took the rule book and animated it.
And from what I understand, because again, while I know the rule book fairly well, I don't know it front to back as much as I'd like to say I do. Ooh, smash collarbone, good night, Prince. I hear they've made a couple mistakes on how some of the rules work.
In Blood Bowl 2?
In the original one. I have no idea if they fucked up yet in Blood Bowl 2, but I can only assume.
Right. I mean, fair play. I guess that's one of those interesting things is I'm surprised that there isn't more verification.
Well,
or clarification.
It's the nature of tabletop games to where there's just always going to be at least like 5% of ambiguity, and the fact that this game also has a living rule book means that while the changes aren't daily, when it comes to a game that has had between its different iterations within the same engine, it's had about 7 years of life.
Right.
The living rule book has changed since it started, so.
That's true. But I mean, in the day and age now that we can push patches, it'd be interesting. Well, I guess the other thing is, because these are all digital downloads that you don't get like an instruction manual, I'm curious to see what they would package in this, or do they just give you a link to the living rulebook and say here's what we base this off of? Or if you go, you know, if they publish their own set of, here's the rules that we coded into this game.
Yeah, and that was one of the things when I first started playing, because my initial when I played Blood Bowl, I only like vaguely knew about the tabletop game. When I first started playing this with the original 8 teams,
right, that
was a bad choice of angle to dodge. He dodged from a tackle zone into 2. But anyways, yeah. I got very frustrated with the game because I had no idea, and there was no immediate place to look on like what the hell does any of this mean.
Right.
And my initial impressions of it after playing about probably I'd say 15 hours of Blood Bowl, I quit for probably about a year. Never wanted to touch it again. I thought it was stupid. And then either it dawned on me or whatever caused me to find the rule book and start reading it. I fell in love with it after I understood everything and then started playing it again.
Right.
This game is extraordinarily frustrating.
Oh, I mean, it's designed to be. That even successes are losses half the time. But I think that I went through a very similar iteration where you were so into it and talking about it, and I go, well, you know what? All right, man, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna join a league and I'm gonna start learning how to play Blood Bowl, and you just get the snot kicked out of you for so long and on such a regular basis and at such an extent that you go, man, I don't understand what A, I'm doing wrong, or B, what I'm doing right for a lot of it. So. And
that's the kicker to me, is that there's two kinds of losing. There's losing where you're just completely outclassed, which is a lot more acceptable to me than when you're just completely ignorant.
Yes.
And it's even more frustrating when it's not immediately available how to not be ignorant.
Right. And, you know, this is still a very kind of a niche game where there isn't as much popularity, or though you see quite a bit of I guess forums about it, you don't see too many higher quality YouTube videos or instructions and stuff. So when we started this league, we tried to get people away from the idea that agility teams were a flat-out guaranteed victory. And did a lot of research and tried to get some good stuff for people to go, here's how you beat Elves. But there isn't a super high availability of that yet. So I'd like to see that the Blood Bowl 2 kind of fixes that from within as a package deal for the support for the game.
Yeah. So you're saying Blood Bowl is very niche. Does our 8 views per video kind of tip the hat towards that, or are you just kind of going off of no statistics?
No, I just, based on what I see as you see a lot of playthroughs, and there are some like speed leagues and stuff out there, but at the same time, I don't think that there's based on the hundreds of thousands of friends that I have, how the percentage of them that have ever heard of Blood Bowl versus, I mean, it's big enough to have this is the third. Blood Bowl 2 will actually be the third Blood Bowl game, right?
They had the original, they had Dark Elves, which was a minor expansion, then they had Legendary Edition, which added a bunch more stuff, and then Chaos Edition, which added. So, I mean, if you're talking just straight games, 2, but I don't know. I could probably consider Legendary Edition to be its own kind of thing, because it was kind of a rehaul. Right.
But I'd like to see what kind of sales they do on this to really see what this will turn into, because I think that it's a very small group of players, but they're very, very dedicated and very hardcore.
Yes, I totally agree. I think there's a lot to love about Blood Bowl, just as much as there's to hate about it. But like you were saying, I don't really see a lot of people who are doing big work in the kind of the quasi-internet media about Blood Bowl really going into the nitty-gritty of it. Like, you see some of the other channels, a majority of the players in those leagues, while they're having fun and they're doing a lot of cool stuff, it's surprising how many you can clearly see just have never A, read the rulebook, and B, played games prior to the league.
Right, and that's one of those things where people are, I don't know if it's Let's players that hey, we just try to get some more followership because we think that there's a base over here. Another touchdown, so good stuff.
Yes. This game was $7 on a Steam sale, so let's see if we can get a million views out of it.
Right. No kidding. But using that kind of stuff where we see, but I haven't really seen a lot of proper large format reviews of the games. So.
And for better or for worse, I don't really, I mean, this is kind of being on the cusp of this experiment. Like, we don't really know if this is something people want.
Right.
But we like doing it, so why not share it?
I think that's a good way to go through business.
Failed pass, but that's okay.
Yep. Right. But I like it because they're giving you the opportunity with the Blood Bowl 2 is it's a good price point for the game. And you're going to get the original races, but they have the opportunity to make more money off the game if you want to spend the money on the game. And I think that most of the die-hard players are going to just pick up all the races, pick up all the expansions, because it's going to be. I'd like to see how much the absolute total is going to be when I get everything that the game has to offer.
And yeah, and not considering sales or anything like that, the actual retail price of everything.
Right, because that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to buy everything the moment it comes out.
Yeah, and that's my plan as well. We're both in the camp of pretty much diehard fans, especially when it comes to the virtual version of Blood Bowl. And I before I was waiting there. I was the second that it went on pre-order. I pre-ordered it. So
I actually pre-ordered it before it was available for pre-order. if you saw my screenshot.
I like your shitty little fucking hand-scrawled note taped. I'll see if I can post that up here so everybody can see it. But yeah, this shitty little picture just taped to the screen. But yeah, it was a foregone conclusion that I was going to buy the game, and
right.
And the thing I've been wanting to mention for a little bit is that everybody has heartburn about the having to buy extra teams and shit like that. It's like, without going too deep into it, man, that's time is money, and it takes them time to make the animations, to do the rules, to do all the other shit that comes with new, complete everything in a team. It can't be cheap. So them making us pay for it is only right. And the fact that I was going to buy the game no matter what, and they were like, hey, if you pre-order, we'll give you one of the extra teams that comes out later for free. It's like, that just shows a good wag to everybody who's a diehard fan.
See, though I agree with you, I'll pay whatever they want me to pay.
Oh, they could have said Blood Bowl 2 was $100, and I would have been like,
shut up and take my money,
stupid bastards, and then I would have handed it to him
Right, but I wasn't really going in there prepared for there not to be all the all of the players, all of the races that are already available to me on this game.
I've had, you know, because we've known about this for about a year or two that it was coming out. We've had some time to kind of deal with that and kind of, and I was very upset when it first came out. I was like, "Oh, these guys suck." But then I saw what they were doing, and I saw what they were building, and the kind of the time and money that had to go into it, and I got it. And then talking, you know, reading interviews, because, you know, that's what I do. I read interviews, watch videos, all kinds of shit, because I'm retarded when it comes to Blood Bowl. They were talking to the creators of it, and they are trying to make it more open to the normal populace. So they specifically chose the starting 8 races to be more appealing towards new players. So that's why you don't see things like halflings and goblins.
No, and I saw that as well, because they don't want to have somebody play a very technically detail-oriented race very early and just be frustrated.
Yeah.
So I think that they did it in a good way. And hey, I want a minimum playable version as soon as you can get it to me, and then those other races and stuff, I'll wait on them. That's cool, because that adds the replayability factor.
Yeah.
Where, ooh, new race, ready, steady, go, and then you and I can start jamming some videos for that.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm like you. I love the other races as much as the next person. I'm all for it, bee's knees. But really what we care about at the core is the game. We need better UI, we need better mechanisms. Hell, even better animations would be nice. Anything like that, anything that helps. And if that causes us to cut our team base by 2/3, if not more, for maybe a year, I'll deal with it.
I don't have any problem with that. You know, and you know the things that you and I are looking for is like the camera angles. That, like a free-floating camera would be great, because this static up-down version of what's going on, and this one isn't any good. For our purposes, a little more interactability with the replays would be great. And so some of those kind of things, I think that I'd like to think that they're going to address, because they want the publicity, they want the commentaries and the playthroughs and the let's plays and stuff. I think that that's really good free advertising for these guys, and I'd like to think that they've added that in.
Yeah, and I hope so. It'll help us out a lot, and in turn, hopefully help them out a lot. I mean, any news is, or rather not news, but any publicity is good publicity, right?
Right.
All right. Well, we have yammered on about Blood Bowl, but yet not Blood Bowl for long enough. For the Corsairs, good game. Obviously, by the score, despite us babbling, we were watching the game. Just waiting for the other team to make a mistake or move players to a point where you can make just one quick touchdown out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of the precision of this coach and this team, is that it's just like, okay, are you done playing yet? Because I'm just going to score.
Right, and it's that waiting game until he has that opportunity, and then he has the player base to do that 2-turn or 1-turn touchdown from distance. So that's what makes him pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and for the Necromantic team, I think you need to have a strategy. I think that's the issue, is that you're being a very reactive player, which really feeds coaches like Master Moose. You have to have a plan on what you're doing, who you're attacking, who's going to be your main guy. We talk about players like Kaiser Francis Drake and Gear Nordic Sun, and we talk about Chesda and Sabnor, Moglop. We talk about these players because this is a player that the coach has either consciously or subconsciously made a decision to feed the ball to, or to do specific plays with. Brett is an excellent example. Never gets the ball, but he has a very specific duty that he does.
Right.
I don't feel that you have any players in your team that I can immediately recall for a specific duty.
Yeah, and that's a good point, where you can't have 1,000 generic players. You need to have a core group within your team so that you are able to put the right player in the right place and drive that ball.
Yeah, and especially early on in a team's development, you need to kind of sit down and make a decision. Okay, this is the guy that I'm going to develop. And it's as simple as that. You can't, if you keep spreading star player points around all willy-nilly, you're going to get left behind in wins. You're going to have a whole team that's level 3, but the teams that have 2 level 5 guys are going to run circles around you.
Right. Good point.
Good game for both teams. I didn't, especially talking about Necromantic, I didn't see some of the really bad moves that I saw early in the second season, your first season, that a new player would make. I just think right now you're building your style as a coach and getting comfortable with the team now.
Yeah, and here's what it comes down to. You're playing against, you lost 3-0 against the winner of the league last year. Or last season, so don't take it hard. Come hard next week and really show what it's coming down to.
Yep. Good job, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Later.